So let's get started. TikTok ban. The deadline is still January 19th. And hold on to your questions. I'll let you guys up here to ask questions and have a conversation once we're done, but I want to run through this. If I look at the comments, I just get distracted and it's all over the place. So currently, January 19th is the deadline of the TikTok ban. We are waiting to hear from the Supreme Court, which we should hear tomorrow, most likely, about whether they're going to issue an administrative stay, meaning they'll allow the Trump administration time to get in office and negotiate new terms or figure out a way to save TikTok. They will grant TikTok's injunction, possibly hear the whole case this summer in the summer session, but that would still allow TikTok to remain around, or they will deny and a TikTok ban will proceed. Now, there is another option. Senator Markey is introducing the Extend the TikTok Deadline Act to the Senate floor. He either did it today, it might have been introduced today, which would give 270 days to extend the ban deadline. And again, give Trump and Congress time to renegotiate, negotiate terms, figure something out to save TikTok. So our best bet, in my opinion, is that bill. What I need y'all to do is call your senators and representatives, contact them, tell them that you support the Extend the TikTok Deadline Act. It takes 2 minutes. So don't just talk about it, be about it. If you want to save TikTok, go contact your representatives, please. Doesn't take a lot of time, okay? That's what you can do. Also, well, Tony, you can say that, but there's a ton of small businesses. The amount of revenue that will be lost if this app gets banned is crazy. Small businesses can get on TikTok and go viral. They don't have to pay money to get exposure. Whereas if you're a small business trying to get exposure on Google, good luck. You're gonna have to pay a ton of money. Same with Instagram. So TikTok is great. We should keep TikTok around. Anyways, if you don't like it, that's fine. Okay, so let's also talk about what happened today. A big win for women's rights. This is going to get people a little puffy, but the Protection of Women's and Girls in Sports Act of 2025 passed the House today. So it will amend the Education Amendments of 1972 to provide that for purposes of determining compliance with Title IX of such act in athletics, sex shall be recognized based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. Now, it will have to get 60 votes in the Senate to pass. So we have 53 Republicans currently in the Senate. We need 7 Democrats to vote yes to get this bill passed, okay? So it would exclude males from athletics under Title IX. Please contact your senators. Contact your senators, say you support this bill. So your homework today, contact your Congress, your House rep and your senator about the Extend the TikTok Deadline Act and say you support it. Your second assignment is to contact your senator and tell them you support the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2025. Hopefully that will get to, it will get onto the Senate floor. Again, they have to have 60 votes to pass it. We know Trump. Thank you, Specialist. I appreciate you. Guys, keep tapping the screen. If we get over 10,000 likes, it helps push me out to the FYP, and I want to share this information with as many people as possible. So those are your assignments today. It will take you a total of 10 minutes. Use the Googles, figure out who your House rep and senator is, send them a message on their contact website. You don't even have to call them. You can call them if you want to, or you can just use the contact form and send them a message. Thank you, Vonster. I appreciate it. Thank you, Waylon. So, okay, that is that. Pretty awesome. It will still allow males to practice, so like scrimmages, anything like that. It just will not allow a male to take a roster spot away from a female on a sports team under Title IX. Title IX covers any institution that receives even $1 of federal funding for educational purposes. If you guys want a recap of all this, in my link tree is my YouTube link. Go follow that. Thank you, Blue Collar. Go ahead and subscribe. You'll get notification. I'll upload all of this, kind of like a little podcast episode. You can listen to it later if you can't hang out. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. Blue Collar, you're good, just so I can see some chat too. Thank you for sharing, though. All right, so what else should we talk about? Do you guys want to do term limits, or do we want to do wildfires next? Apple Clock, I haven't heard any update. I know, right, Brooklyn? Okay. Wildfires. Term limits, okay, it's kind of like an even split. I'll go quick on both, so we'll crank them out. All right, so term limits. Thank you, Sir King. I appreciate you, genuinely. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for gifting. The algorithm has not liked me lately. My content could very well suck, but I'm trying to get y'all information. And when it's like yelling into the void, it gets a little frustrating. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep pushing. But the more you guys can interact with us live, the more it helps me out. All right, California wildfires. When I checked this morning, as of 6 a.m., For the Palisade Fire, 23,713 acres had burned. It was 17% contained, 5,300 structures and vehicles destroyed, 11,000 threatened. The Eaton Fire, which is the other big one, 14,000 acres burned, 35% contained, 22 structures destroyed, and 329 damaged. The Hearst Fire was 800 acres, is 97% contained. The Kenneth Fire, 1,052 acres, 100% contained. So slow progress on the Palisade Fire. I listened to a podcast from Tucker Carlson with Michael, I can't remember his last name. It was the most recent Tucker Carlson podcast, and they talked about measures that could have, like proactive steps that could have been taken by state and local leadership that just weren't. I also would love to know why the Santa Ynez Reservoir, which is closest to Palisade, was empty for over a year. It wasn't Michael Knowles. Over a year, because they had to repair a hole in the cover that goes over the reservoir to keep bird crap out. A year. They knew that these conditions were getting worse because they were not getting moisture for a good 8 months. There's been a drought. And yet that wasn't prioritized. So we can also look at the fact that January 1, weather experts were saying, listen, this is a disaster weather-wise. These are perfect conditions for a fire. So you guys should be on guard. And then the mayor took off to Ghana a few days later. Now, the weather conditions, Santa Ana winds are no joke. I don't dispute that. I don't minimize that. It was horrible conditions to try to fight a fire. But there are things that could be done to have lessened the spread of this and to have tried to get this under control quicker. And they just weren't done. So that's the California wildfire update. 2 videos, my most recent videos on the sports bill that was passed in the House today. My second video from today is on this very thing, the California wildfires. So I think when you dismiss the possibility that there was a failure of leadership, you eliminate the opportunity for accountability. So we have to have the conversations, all right? We have to be having these conversations. If you guys missed the beginning of this, subscribe to my YouTube. I'll be throwing it up on there tonight. Don't mind now. You can click the little bell, I think, to notice when I upload, but I'm gonna try to start doing informative lives and then we'll go into discussions. I don't know of that gamer. We'll see how it goes. The traffic is a little bit quiet when I'm just yapping at you all, but I think it's important information to get out to you guys. So I'm gonna continue to do it this way for a while. All right, so for the fifth time, Ted Cruz has put in a resolution to amend the Constitution for term limits, along with Representative Norman. So it was referred to the Committee on the Judiciary in the Senate on January 7th. That's another thing. If you want term limits, contact your representatives and senators if you support this term limits resolution or amendment from Ted Cruz. They would need 2/3 in the House and Senate to get this passed, so that's quite a feat. But go ahead and contact if you are really passionate about term limits, which a lot of people are. So if you just sit on your hands, then you're not about it. Take action. And what Ted Cruz said is, term limits are critical to fixing what's wrong with Washington. The Founding Fathers envisioned a government of citizen legislators who would serve for a few years and return home, not a government run by a small group of special interests and lifelong, permanently entrenched politicians who prey upon the brokenness of Washington to govern in a manner that is totally unaccountable to the American people. Term limits bring about long overdue accountability. I urge my colleagues to advance this amendment to the states so that it may be quickly ratified and become a constitutional amendment. So the first step is to get it through the House and Senate. Again, 2/3. Sorry, I had an alarm go off. Are you guys good? Can you hear me? Just a yes if you can hear me. Thank you. Appreciate it. It is hard to achieve, but it's not impossible. And at least we have a senator and a representative fighting to get that done. So Senator Cruz was joined by Senators Mike Lee, Rick Scott, Rand Paul, Todd Young, Steve Daines, Cynthia Loomis, Bill Hagerty, Eric Schmidt, Roger Marshall, Katie Britt, and Jim Banks in introducing the amendment. So like I said, it would require a 2/3 vote in both the House and the Senate, and then have to go to the states to be ratified. So we'll see. Yes, Rand Paul is also co-sponsoring the bill to extend the TikTok deadline. Now what's interesting is Markey voted yes on the TikTok ban. Originally, he's now really putting pressure to extend the ban. 270 days is what's the bill that's supposed to be introduced to the Senate here soon. So, quick update. I think I did that in 10 minutes. I don't think it took too long. So, Linktree in my bio. If you want to, am I in Anchor?